Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. We Tech Those. Just me, Zach, and Rick today.
Yep.
Everybody just
Yo,
jumping
yo.
around. Can't depend on nobody. All right. Okay. Guys, so another video today. I want to get your take on it. I think it's a conversation we never really actually had yet. So let's go ahead and go to the video and get into it, all right?
All right.
All right.
Adult films.
And also just a friendly reminder to all the women who are fine with their boyfriends watching porn. He is losing interest as he is watching porn, and he's also comparing you to the porn stars that he watched. And so many women get so surprised when they learn about this, but yes, he does lose interest, and yes, he is comparing you. He finds a porn star that he likes, and the porn star doing all types of tricks, backflips, and whatever. He's coming into the bedroom kind of expecting that from you. So his expectations are very high in the bedroom. He's getting little of himself. And so when he's done, and let's say your performance was not like the porn star, he's like, oh my God, my girlfriend sucks in bed. And also, if he's watching porn stars that look nothing like you, like let's say you're slim and he's watching thicker porn stars, that's him saying that he's not physically attracted to you. He's not a safe man, and he isn't a safe man to build intimacy with. So yeah, when he watches porn, he loses value in the intimacy you guys both share.
Damn, she took some leaps. She made some
My
assumptions.
I
Jesus.
think she might have done a few backflips and landed on her head.
I think so.
I always have to pause when I hear people say, this. It's like one of my pet peeves when someone assumes or to interpret my words instead of like asking for the explanation or judge some kind of nefarious or negative conclusion. Notice it's usually always a negative. I don't know why most people do that. They usually always jump to the negative. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but that's just me. So the question here is, porn, adult industry content. How do you guys feel about it? Do you guys watch it? Let's see that.
Yes.
Honestly, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of rare, but yeah.
Okay. I would say I'm more than rare. I would say that. Okay, so got established there. So we all watch it. So,
Right.
do you guys have any comments on her points? Saying that let's start from the first point, which was one, it's just bad for your relationships, right? He shouldn't be doing it because he's looking at what he wants to happen in his relationship in the bedroom and is not getting it from you or getting and as a result getting dissatisfied for you. Have you guys experienced anything to do with that?
So I feel like for me, it's like two completely separate things. Like the adult film industry and the content that they produce is like, for me, it's like that's a separate kind of like fantasy land type of thing. And I would never expect my girl to do the same exact stuff for me, because it's like if I wanted exactly that, if I wanted all those things, I would go out and I would find an actress to date, because that's what they're going to give, and that's an unrealistic expectation of a normal person, and that's kind of a problem in general with that industry. Is like it does paint some unrealistic expectations, and if you can't decipher between reality and what the whole production value of that industry is, then you're going to start having problems in your relationship. But it's the ability to kind of split it and say like, that's unrealistic, stepsis ain't doing none of that.
Right.
If you could cut it and be like, no, my girl is just my girl.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna say.
Right. That's what they tell me the plots are like. I don't know.
That's a good point, though. I never had a teacher come on to me like that. I never had stepmom, just was in the mood or what. Like it's like, but what do you think, Rick?
I think it's, at least I'm speaking for myself, I've always had it separated as like a fantasy thing. Never once did I allow it to, skew my vision of, my partner or anything like that. It was just always pure fantasy. Never did I like try to extract that into my actual reality and try to compare to the point where it will harm my relationships or anything.
Hmm.
Right. I definitely see. I think we're all in agreement that there's compartmentalization there.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that you exist, and unfortunately, you see it a lot. I've heard of it, from like, and I don't want to. I'm not attacking all women here, but some women, they'll watch, like, you'll see them watch like Disney movies
Hmm.
and expect relationships to kind of be like that, and it never really fits like that. If a guy is looking at corn and thinking like, I want that to show up like that, well, you do need to go get that girl. I think it's unrealistic to imagine your girl, whose body might be different than one of these stars, to do the same things as the stars. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
your chest got to be way out to here, and your booty all big and all this stuff. Obviously, they had work done, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even the dudes, they had work done. There's a surgery out there. That's why that But so that point is, so definitely our intention is not that. So let's talk about the other side of it, because I feel like in relationships, it does take some understanding, right?
Hmm.
Some
Yeah.
consideration, right? Is there consideration to be made for your significant other not liking it?
Yeah, I feel like you should at least take into account how that
Hmm.
person feels about it, and like maybe what you do is establish a baseline of like, you know, that that part of your fantasies and that part of, your, let's call it self-care, should remain separated, and like your partner just shouldn't really dive into that part of your personal life, because it's okay to just respect a boundary and say like, we're not going to talk about it. I don't care, if you want to look at it, that's all right, but I don't appreciate it. And you should be able to just cut it and say like, all right, that's fine. Like, we're just going to respect the boundary. I'll do my thing. You don't have to even know that I'm doing this. But, if you can come to the realization with your partner that, adults are going to be adults, and they're going to kind of look at things that they're curious about or that they want to watch. And so if you can treat the other person like an adult and respect, their opinions, and respect what they actually want to look at and content that they want to consume, then, then I feel like you're going to get somewhere.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I also think that another point is uh, this manifestation, again, like I said before, of the negative.
Hmm.
If in her case, her saying that this is what he wants. If he hasn't stated that, I don't understand how you would even know what he wants. I mean, you're talking about somebody, generally speaking, in men, right? I think the thing about us, we always kind of say we're not mind readers, right? We can never
Hmm.
tell what a woman's thinking, and that kind of gets us in trouble, right? Because they want us to kind of like expect what to do and what to say in certain aspects. I'm not sure how you can do the same with somebody who can't produce that. Like, we our whole thing is simply, generally speaking, is that we can't read your mind, so we're not going to think that you're making some action. We're going to investigate and ask questions. At least you should, basically.
Hmm.
It should be the same the other way, basically. If that's what he is looking for, I heard some stories, like somebody wanted to do some like dominatrix type stuff, and it's like, I don't want to do that. Like,
Hmm.
if that's the case, then you talk about it out, and if you could work it out, great. If not, then you go your own separate ways. But it shouldn't just be an assumption like that. It's almost like you're guilty without even proven guilty. You're guilty before even the trial, and
Yeah.
that's just wrong to
Hmm.
me, right? Um, the other thing is, um, I mean, not to get too much into you guys' private lives, but have you guys ever like saw something like, I want my girl to do that? Like, is it ever like,
I mean,
I mean,
I mean,
I've seen
I
some
mean,
stuff that I'm like, I'm down
fair
to try
enough?
it.
Yeah, like that'd be cool.
I mean, I'll say I've learned some of my best moves from,
right.
Oh my goodness! I'll be honest with you, that is true. Like, I've seen some shit. That's like, oh, okay, then I do it. but never necessarily expected my partner to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
it's kind of that's an interesting take. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't realize
I
that.
feel like that's the difference. So like you don't expect your partner to do it. Even if like you see some shit and you're like, hey, that'd be nice. But
Hmm.
the expectation is where you've crossed the line. Like if you just
Fair enough.
you make the assumption that your partner is going to do that and you don't respect like maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they're not into that same stuff. So as long as you still respect it and you don't expect them to perform an action that you saw online, I think you're cool.
Right. All right, that's a good level-headed response. Because a lot of things that happen in some of these, films
Mm.
that is not really possible. There's certain people's bodies type of thing. The other thing is she mentioned is that the different body types actually. I think is a good point to talk about.
Mhm.
What start by asking you. I want to assume you're right. Have you guys been? I mean, are you guys attracted to more than one body type? That's what the assumption is here. Is that your significant other can have one body type, and you're attracted to them, and like in order to be attracted to somebody in the corn industry, you have to not be attracted to them. Like that's not possible to be attracted to two different body types.
I think that's totally wrong. For
Yeah, I
me
think that's false.
personally, yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
I was gonna say I think that's false.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with like, I guess it's getting more into my personal. But there's times where like I'm in the mood to see something like different
Mhm.
at that moment in time, and then the next day maybe I want to dive into something else from that, maybe like a slimmer body or maybe a bigger body or maybe bigger butt.
Yeah.
I change it up. I can't like
Ebony, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
that too.
Is what it is.
So to me, it's just like the fantasy of it. It's like nothing,
Right.
no like real diving deep into like, oh, this the underlining meaning of this. Like, no, it's just literally just the fantasy of it.
Yeah. It is like the fantasy of, you can have all these different body types and you could like experience all that like different types of women out there, and that's what that industry kind of provides, is like the experience of the fantasizing about it and like kind of seeing what it could be like. But at the end of the day, every person has one body type. So the person that you choose to be with, that's you chose a body type that you like, or you wouldn't be with them. And it's not all right for somebody to say like, oh, just because you look at a different body type means that all of a sudden you're not attracted to mine. Because it's like you got to back up and realize that there very much is attraction there. Otherwise you're probably not with that person. Like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, well, I can't even say unfortunately, because it's human nature that attraction is a huge part of every relationship. And the foundation of every relationship is like, there's a split second when you look at somebody and you're attracted to them. And so that's what drives the getting to know a person and like actually introducing yourself to them. So,
Right.
I mean, you're attracted to their body type and they shouldn't feel like you aren't just because you look at other women online. It's like, you may want to see something different, but that doesn't take away from who they are.
Right. I mean, we can also identify somebody being attractive, and at the same time, not wanting to have anything to do with that person. I think Amber Heard is attractive. I would never want to be with her in a relationship ever.
She trash in relationships.
I would never. If I poop was on the bed, oh, I can't even imagine, man. I
Man.
can't. Even, but that's part of it. And that goes all into it. The other thing is just because we indulge in some media does not mean that like it has to completely parallel our life. Like we play a lot of video games. I mean, Street Fighter, Call of Duty and things like that. I don't want to go to some war zone shooting some people. It's fun to do in the game.
Right.
If I had to do it in real life, no thank you. It's not. It's like those two situations can be different.
I don't know, David. You seem like the type of dude that would do that one episode from Black Mirror. You know which
You
one I'm
talk
talking
about
about.
the one where they were like making out. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that was a little bit too weird for me.
Uh,
I'm cool, but but yeah. And so this notion that and it's unfortunately I've asked these questions a lot. I try my best to understand where women are coming from. The women I've interacted with, they have interesting insights into how they think. It's obviously different, and this is the main thing I come to understand. Men and women, kind of generally speaking, tend to differ in thought and how they come to certain conclusions, how they compartmentalize things, stuff like this. For a guy, generally speaking, like this is just a moment in time. He will not remember usually this. As I've seen from studies, men have increasing difficulty in memory actually. So it's actually an issue when you if your girls are out there and they're getting upset as your guy keeps forgetting stuff. It may not just be weaponized incompetence. I like to say sometimes it might be just because like me for instance, I cannot do two things at once. I don't know why. If I'm doing something and I'm not finished and I stop to do something else, I will completely forget about that other thing.
hmm
And it's like, what, you know what I'm saying? Many times I've gone to the trash can, tried to put something in the trash, ain't no bag in there. Like, oh man, I was supposed to take this. I was first in the middle taking the trash out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So these type of things, when you're looking at something, whether it be corn or in real life, it's a difference between looking at something and then acting upon that thing.
hmm
Basically, if I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see some oh snap, like I go through it real quick. That's different than me saying, "Oh, let me slide into her DMs. Let me see, if like and follow her pictures and stuff like that." That's action. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So with that being said, a lot of these girls feel like they kind of take it personally because it's almost as if they feel like if let me see if you ever heard this though. What she's kind of saying is that you're looking at these other girls because you're not attracted to me.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? And I just don't think that's usually the case. It can be. I wouldn't want to speak for every bad situation, but I think usually dudes are just attracted to women in general. And I don't think that's inherently wrong to be attracted to multiple women. What comes into play though is that man's discipline to not act on that type of thing.
hmm
That's where the commitment comes from. If you're looking for a guy to not have any kind of urges, you can find that guy. I don't think you'd like him because he won't be this type of characteristics, kind of personality. He'll kind of just be like a doormat kind of thing.
Mm.
A guy who's chosen you, who's chosen to commit to you, and who's quality guy, obviously it's going to have some trials and tribulations, but you got to trust him to stay in that relationship. And if you don't, then that dude's trash. Because if you commit to something and you don't do it, your word is your bond, man. So if you commit to something and don't do it, then that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you commit to not having porn and then you use porn, I gotta hit that up. Then then you're in the wrong, right? I mean, would you agree with that? If there was like an agreement, I think anytime you go into an agreement with a woman, anybody, and you break that agreement, then that's definitely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That exact example, like I would have a problem with because you shouldn't make like a foundational agreement on controlling like your desires. Like
You're right.
that's
You
wrong to try and control somebody else's desires. But other things I would say yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. You shouldn't get into a situation where you're trying to curb something they already kind of do, unless it's just in general, you shouldn't.
Right.
Because if they're already doing it and they don't give it up themselves, it's just going to lead to resentment and them not wanting to be with you in the first place, type of thing. So
Yep.
yeah, you're right. At the same time, though, these women watch corn too, so it's not just guys, and all them guys are not average. Let's say that they're not average. I'm not taking that. We shouldn't take that into oh, that's what she wants. If that's what she obviously can't get it here. I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad about it.
She better not come home expecting me to pull out the Louisville Slugger.
Right. Exactly. I was like, girl, what you doing? Why you playing me like this? That's messed up. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. But And I think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they thinking, I'm almost certain that's not what they thinking. They're in the moment. They did do something, and whatever the case may be. Now, the other thing is, I think we should talk about is that if you're using porn in spite of, if you're using porn in spite of intimacy with your significant other, what do you guys think about that?
Then I
Okay,
feel
I
like,
think that's
oh, go ahead.
crossing the line. Yeah,
Yeah, same. I feel like that's a
yeah. I would
problem.
say if it's starting to cause damage in that field, then yeah, that's a bad thing. Then
Right. Oh, okay. So let's say in that situation, 'cause that was one of her points too. Let's say it does lead to that. Let's take it for the guy's side. You know what I'm saying? If you find if you were a guy, you're in a situation, you're watching porn, and somehow this is making you less. If let's just say it's making you less attracted to your significant other. I mean, what do you do about it then? Do you drop it? Do you what? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
I feel like at that point you got to assess the value of what your significant other brings to the table. Like, are they bringing enough to the table for you to be like, all right, this clearly my habit on the side is not healthy, so I'm gonna try and wean off of that so I can reflect more positively on my partner.
Right.
And then if you've got other issues outside of just intimacy, then maybe it's just a true sign that you just really need to reassess where you're at, and maybe that partner just isn't what you're even looking for in a person anymore, let alone just the physical attraction.
yeah, that's honestly very well put. I
Mhm.
just think a
That is
lot of
really
times
true.
going with
Go
that,
ahead. Go ahead.
it's just I think not just dudes, but chicks in general have a hard time
Mhm.
admitting to that.
Oh yeah, it's tough.
So especially if once you've put like time into it,
Mhm.
like a lot of people tend to try to fool themselves into thinking like, no, that is what I want still. Yes, yes. But
Mhm.
in situations like this where they're like potentially not like they're seeking more by, watching these corns and, finding more attractiveness and that's ideally what they're like leaning towards or, this and that. It's maybe time to maybe reassess the situation all
Mhm.
in its
That's
whole
true.
entirety.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of gets into another like fundamental issue on how people think about their relationships in general. It's like a lot of people tend to weigh the good times so much more significantly than the issues and the bad times. Like when you look back, you tend to remember the good things in a relationship and you try and hold on to the good things and you ignore a lot of the negativity that's going on. And it would be a much better judgment of your relationship and where you're at if you accurately reflect on like, all right, well, how often do we argue? How often are we intimate? Like, how often do we want to take trips? And like, what does she bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? Where do we balance out? So a
Mm.
lot of people don't want to admit that there's a lot of negativity in even a healthy relationship. But a healthy relationship has a better balance of like positivity. So your positivity is outweighing your negativity. But to look at it as if the negativity is not there at all, a lot of people do that and it keeps them wanting to hold on to something and they ignore their problems that they're having. So it's good to just every once in a while really assess where you're at and like think about it from a level-headed perspective.
That is absolutely true.
Hmm.
The problem is feelings get in the way.
Facts.
I think that is definitely the number one culprit is that feelings do get in the way.
Yep.
For both men and women, and it's like I always tell my girlfriend this, and she sometimes gets upset with me. It's me trying to say like men don't have a feeling, so we have feelings.
Hmm.
It's usually anger, but even anger is an emotion.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, and it clouds your judgment. A lot of dudes have done stupid things because they were angry.
Hmm.
As opposed to they were calmed down, took a minute, and thought levelly, they could have made a better decision. Uh, so it's all the same. I think the takeaway should be from this would be at least ask him, you know, um, if it's a situation where it's taken away from your intimacy, then that's a whole different thing. And it's like you gotta usually, guys, and it's, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. For your ladies, I mean, usually you want to be the one to fix things, right?
Yeah, I would say like
Right? Say so.
most of the time. Yeah, I want to fix things. Like,
So I'm just like,
there are those times.
Like, come on, do it yourself.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, you got yourself into this, you get yourself out.
Fair enough. No absolutes. Fair enough. So, but generally speaking, helping your girl do something just to make you feel good, right? You like that feeling, like doing that stuff for them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think it would benefit these women if they were simply to explain to them that what the challenge is, what the situation is, and let your man try to fix it. Basically, now if he doesn't fix it, I mean, then maybe he don't like you. But if the situation was that we're not intimate because you're always watching corn, I like you to be more intimate with me because I think that's where our relationship could benefit from. That's where we're lacking, type of thing.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? As opposed to the shaming language and the blaming of, you don't care about me, you're not attracted to me, type of thing. And it's like it's going in with misleading characterizations about the behavior. And I feel like that's when then at that point the man's more worried about being defensive and protecting himself as opposed to fixing the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is how men's minds works, women. This is how you have to get them to understand. You have to speak in this way, basically, and not try to be a defensive. I mean, because the idea is you care about this person, right? I wouldn't want to put my significant other on the defensive.
Yeah.
I don't want her to feel like I'm attacking her. You see what I'm saying? I care about this person.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want her to feel like I'm attacking her? If I have an issue with her, I'm going to come to her and I think this is an issue between us. I'm having difficulties with this. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
I think that comes out better than you don't love me because you're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like half the time we don't even realize.
Yeah.
As much as I want to say like we're intelligent, things like this. We usually focus on one thing and not seeing it from multiple sides, things like that. Not saying you're right or wrong, but I'm just saying that's the situation. It could be that he just doesn't see this as a problem. Just talk to him about it.
Yeah. Accusations lead to hostility at least 9 times out of 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean,
and most of the time we're too dumb to even lie about it like that. I'll just tell you. Oh, okay, cool. I don't want to be with this guy no more. Fine.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You gotta. I feel like just create a space of vulnerability with your partner, and like whatever that is, whatever actually makes you guys both feel comfortable to talk to each other about a serious topic. But like create that vulnerable atmosphere. Get rid of the accusations and talk about it in just a person to person way, like a very just this human contact and understanding each other kind of way. And you get a lot farther that way. The accusations is just what causes arguments.
Right. That vulnerability, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What time, Rick?
We're about at
like 28.
Like 29 minutes.
Yeah.
28, 29.
Yeah, the vulnerability is the key. Very few people want to be vulnerable. People are being actively told not to be vulnerable. Both sides. You'll see women being told this in some women's spaces. You'll see these men being told not to be vulnerable, like pretty much ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not really productive to a relationship for the overwhelming majority of society.
Yeah.
Basically. That's just, ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's it. We had a good conversation about this. So what do you guys think at home? The corn industry as a whole, do you think it's good? Do you think it's, should we use this? Is this something that we should just be done away with altogether? Let us know in the comment section. Like and subscribe. For Zach, Rick, and myself, we're out. Thank you very much.
Later.